Hello, I am Hailee Risner, and I'm applying to be a first-year guide or an FYG. Just a little bit about me is I am a theater nerd, which means I have done theater throughout my whole high school career, which was 4 years, and I continue to pursue that here in my college career. I have done track and field for 3 years in high school, but I will not be pursuing this in college. I also helped out in a kindergarten and second grade classroom my junior and senior year of high school. I am also an Alma A student, which means I volunteer around the community of Alma. Currently, I am volunteering at Dallas to the Rescue, which is a local animal shelter. There, I clean up the litter boxes, clean up the cat room, walk dogs, make sure they are fed and taken care of, as well as doing little tasks to help the workers focus on getting these animals out for adoption. Now, some experiences in my resume that I am the most proud of is, like I said before, my educational careers, which was my student teaching or cadet teaching in a second grade and a kindergarten classroom. Now, I believe this connects to being a first-year guide because it means I am very well in tune with watching over a group of students. Yes, these kids were a lot younger than me. However, I am experienced in handling a big group of students, small or big, and what to get their attention and how to keep them engaged. Some common adjustments that students are faced when transitioning into Alma is being homesick or struggling to find friends or not feeling like they're fitting in. As an FYG, one thing that I can help them with all of this, because let's face it, all first year students struggle with some form of this or another. And I am a freshman, so these experiences happen pretty fresh for me. So I can offer some advice for trying to find more friends, like joining groups or going to these little activities that they have on campus, like the Kitty Fun Nights or tie-dye with the LEAPS program. As an FYG, I can offer some reassurance that these places are where I found some of my closest friends, and I can even offer going with them so they don't feel so alone. Now, a time that I've worked with a group of students with different backgrounds is my theater program. I was a co-director, so I helped out with placements of where you should be on stage and different acting techniques that people can use. Now, we had a different group of kids, I believe my junior year, with our foreign exchange program. So we had a bunch of Spanish-speaking students in our theater program, and I helped them out with, I speak a little Spanish, so I was able to help translate a little bit, and I helped them understand what we were supposed to be doing at certain times of rehearsal. One thing that I found out is everybody is willing to work very beautifully and cohesively together if you just set aside differences. We're really not all that different. A piece of valuable constructive criticism that I have received was when I first started working at my job at JJ Ruby's, which is a local restaurant around here in Alma. Now, it was my very first job. I was very stubborn, to say the least. I believed that whatever I was doing was the correct way, even though I really had no idea what I was doing. I was a hostess and a waitress in training, and I was very stubborn. I believed that it was an easy job and that all I had to do was deliver food and sit people out to their tables. I quickly found out that this was not the case, and there's a lot more that goes into waitressing. I had a coworker point out to me that I needed to slow down and breathe and don't get so frazzled, and that I need to actually spread out where people are sitting and make sure people are getting the right food. I handle this very well. I am able to actually take advice if I am doing something wrong. So I quickly adjusted, and now I am a hostess on Fridays and Sundays. Some changes that happened unexpectedly and that I needed to adapt was moving around a lot. When I was in elementary school and middle school, I moved around to around 5-6 different schools, and I had to adapt pretty quickly. Now, I was going into a new environment. I didn't know a lot of people, and it was hard because I knew I'd probably be moving pretty soon. However, the way that I adjusted to this was going around trying to talk to as many people as I could and getting over the fear that I would be moving pretty soon. Once I overcame those fears and I actually branched out and talked to a lot more people, it was easier to make friends and adjust to moves. Now, a time that I've worked with difficult people and had to handle conflict management techniques is actually, again, working in a classroom. And I know I talk about it a lot, but I really did enjoy my time in the classroom and helping a group of students, which is, again, why I wanted to apply to be an FYT. Now, working in a classroom, and especially with younger kids, you see a lot of fighting and bickering, or I had a couple students who felt that the work that they were doing was either too hard or too easy for them, so they just did not want to do it. Now, what I found to be very helpful for me when handling with more difficult students or students who just kind of checked out early was trying to find a common ground, as well as being enthusiastic and understanding. So, for example, I had a student who did not want to do the math worksheet because it was too easy for him, which I understand. Sometimes kids are just ahead of the curve. A way that I got him to be more enthusiastic about doing the work that he was supposed to be doing was talking to him about why he didn't want to do it. He said he did a lot of homework at home. It was too easy for him. He just does a lot of math and just didn't feel like doing it, which I can sympathize with, but in a classroom environment and during Term 101, you have a strict schedule that you need to follow. So I talked to him and I talked to the student, and we came up with a solution where he would do the worksheet and I could give him even harder math problems for him to kind of challenge himself, or next time I was in the classroom, we would all, as a group, not just him, work on a math game, which I had different flashcards and they were supposed to match the math problem up with the answer, which all the students thought was very fun, and so did this kid, which got him more excited to learn. Now, one way that I can build trust for these new students so they feel more comfortable here at Alma, or more comfortable coming to me and asking questions about campus or about school or just life here on campus, is trying to build a rapport. Just like with these little kids that I have helped teach, again, we're not so different from them, is trying to find trust and trying to find comfort in somebody. It is a lot easier to adjust to Alma College when you have a familiar face that you can go to and ask questions, or even just hang out if you're feeling a little left out or lonely. I would like to say that I'm a very kind and enthusiastic person, so I would have no problem, being more enthusiastic, and especially about answering questions. If a new student came up to me asking, for example, like how to manage their time properly, I can be more enthusiastic, like, oh, here are the ways that I have managed my time, and invite them to like a study room or to the learning commons, and I can show them exactly how I space out my planner and how I write my assignments in there and everything. Just to be open and understanding with all these questions that they have or might have. If you ask an FYG or even just another student for help and they are rude or sarcastic, that student is going to feel less likely to go to you to ask questions. Another way that I can make these new students feel comfortable is offer to meet outside of FYG meetings and Tartan 101. I would obviously give these students like my Snapchat or my number so they can reach out to me at any time that they feel comfortable or whenever they get the chance. I do have a schedule of my own. However, if a student wanted to meet up with me and talk about questions, or if they just feel like they're not fitting in, I will offer to meet outside of, like I said, the FYG meetings. Like we can meet up at their dorm, probably not their dorm, but we can meet up at, like I said before, Learning Commons, or we could go grab breakfast or lunch together. Just, again, a familiar face so they don't feel so alone. Strategies to keep students engaged. I love this question because one thing that I have found growing up, like especially in the school system, is when kids are feeling drained and they're tired and they just don't want to be doing the work. For the example that you guys provided, it's day 3 of Tartan 101. We've been through all the icebreakers. We've seen so many things. Everybody's drained. They're tired. We wake up early in the morning. One thing to get you less tired is to get you up and moving. Things that I've done with my students is when they are less energized, you got to get them up out of their seats. Or for example, in Tartan 101, instead of sitting on the ground or standing on the sidewalk, is I would get my group of students to get, this is going to sound a little silly, but stand in place and start doing movements like jumping jacks or even running in place, or touch your toes, touch your head, stretch a little bit. Once you get your body moving, you will feel a lot more awake and a lot more alive. Now, like I said before, I'm a very energetic person. My students might not appreciate it at like 9 in the morning. However, another way to get them more engaged and to feel more awake and less like drained is to be asking them a lot of questions, be more enthusiastic. We've been through these icebreakers. However, I can ask questions that aren't necessarily about icebreakers, like, how was your guys' summer? What did you do? Did you guys travel out of state? Just like little questions like that can get them thinking and maybe even get them excited to talk about their summers or what they plan to be doing in college or some of their expectations. And let's say we talked about college expectations. That can lead to more questions that students may have that I can provide answers for that, again, they didn't think of before. Now, a time that I had made a mistake and handled the situation and resolved it was, I believe, my sophomore or junior year of track and field. The situation was entirely my fault. I was distracted when one of my races was coming up soon. I was talking to my friend in the bleachers, which is not where I was supposed to be. I was supposed to be on the field near the track. I was not doing what I was supposed to be doing. I was chit-chatting with a friend, lost track of time, and I completely missed my race, which was a 4x2, which means not only me, but my entire team was disqualified from the race. So I ended up talking to my teammates, explained the situation, and explained that I am very apologetic, that I am very sorry, and that I hope that I can make it up to them. They were very understanding, and then I talked to my coach. We agreed that something like that would never happen again, that shouldn't have happened in the first place. I should have been paying attention and having my mind focused on the task at hand, which was the race. we agreed that I would do some extra work at practice just to kind of, like make up for it. And I mean, it's never a bad idea to be doing some extra practice, and especially for a sport, and especially if teammates rely on you. Some extracurriculars that I do in the fall is, like I said before, I'm a theater nerd, so I'll be doing theater in the fall, as I did for my first semester of college. And how I would balance that with being a first-year guide is, honestly, practices are late in the day. It's, I believe, 7 to 10. I might be wrong at that, but I do know it is later in the night. And I do know theater doesn't start until a couple weeks into the semester. That being said, I know that my students will be relying on me for the first semester of college, and if they need help in the second semester or throughout the years in Alma College, I will still be there to answer questions and just be there for them. However, like I said before, I will be giving them my Snapchat and my number, so they can always text me, and I will respond as fast as I can. As well as if they need to meet, I can meet before practice, after practice, or at any time that is convenient for them. I don't have any questions for you, and I appreciate and thank you guys for this opportunity. I look forward to hearing back from you guys. That's all. Thank you so much. Bye. And again, I'm Hailee Risner.